And recording has started.
Recording has started. All right. Well, here we are again,
Yeah,
Destination Nightmare B Movie Podcast with Al and Roddy.
yep. And
And
this
this week's
movie,
movie is,
The Horror of Party Beach.
after all these years of knowing this movie, I've never watched it.
Really?
I watched another one called The Beach Girls and the Monsters.
Yeah, I think that was a- another version of this, or they sort of ripped off the.
Yeah, well, that one, the Beach Girls and the Monsters was recorded on television, off of television, and it was called Monster on the Surf. So it wasn't until they released the other movie that oh wait a minute, it's the same movie, but
Yeah, pretty much.
it's the
It was
same
a year
ballpark as
later.
this movie.
Yeah, Beach Girls and the Monster was a year later.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's probably the same, or
And there's another
it's
movie.
such a similar script.
There's another movie called Destination Inner Space that had a better monster than this, but it's in the same.
Oh yeah, it's a similar vein, but yeah, it was a better monster.
It's not as good. Well, this movie is goofy, but it's pretty grim at some points. It's kind of gory at some points, and
Yeah.
I remember there was a comic book about this. Warren put out a photo comic book. I have it somewhere called, the Horror Party Beach,
Wow.
and right after the movie came out. So
Wow.
good stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
anyway,
the
let's
credits
get on with
start.
the movie then.
Yeah, you see the credits, and there's a guy and a girl in a hot rod.
Oh, by the way,
And
a friend of mine's relative, a friend of mine's distant relative,
uh
co-wrote this movie.
no
So
kidding.
yeah, yep. So anyway,
Cool. So you see a guy and a girl in a hot rod, and there's like a motorcycle behind them, and they're I don't know what they're doing, if they're chasing each other or trying to race or whatever. But the hot rod pulls away, and this is while the credits are rolling. So then Hank, All American Hank, he gets out of the car with his girlfriend Tina, and they start arguing. And she's a party girl. All she wants to do is party and drink. And he's like, "You can't. We're growing up now. We got to be more serious. We got to stop the boozing and partying and blah blah blah."
this is the blonde-haired guy.
Yeah, the blonde haired guy and the dark haired girl.
He was who? I guess he was. Was he a lifeguard or was he just one of the guys on the beach?
I think it was just one of the guys. He's
He looked older too.
yeah, he is employed by another character's father, Elaine. Yeah,
The
that's her name,
blonde.
Elaine.
The blonde.
Yeah, the blonde.
Yeah.
And the doctor, it's Dr. Gavin, who's typical bald-haired, bespectacled scientist of everything. So they sort of kind of break up or separate. So they go to the beach and everybody's partying and dancing and stuff. And then the scene cuts and you see the ship out in the water, and it's dumping radioactive chemical drums of radioactive chemicals
In the beach.
in the water.
Well, not in the beach, but
Yeah, out in the water. And
nearby.
it just so happens there's I guess it's a pirate shipwreck with skeletons on the bottom of the
That's
water
right.
where the drums
That's
fall.
right.
And then you hear this like weird music, and then one of the drums starts leaking, and then you see this black cloud of radioactive chemicals, and it starts reacting with the skeleton, and you see like the skeleton slowly transform into an evil fish monster with hot dogs in its mouth.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I have no clue what that is. And then eventually and there's a rapid change, and eventually the skeleton monster, the skeleton becomes a sea monster, and it makes like a weird frog noise.
Yeah, yeah.
So then then you see scenes of people on the beach dancing and
Yeah,
having
this is kind
fun,
of
and
like a musical. It's about three or four whatever
no
songs.
kidding, and a lot of dancing too. So then the bikers, they come up onto beach, and they're all standing there looking and whatever. And during the dancing, the Hank's girlfriend Tina, she sees the head biker, so she starts flirting with him, and they start dancing. And in the meantime, Hank is he's staring out into the ocean because I guess he's trying to figure out his future. And he's like old. He doesn't look like a teenager anymore. He
No,
might
he's
be in his
older,
early, might be in his early 20s.
20s, early 20s maybe or
Yeah.
something.
So he meets Elaine, who's the daughter of the doctor he works for, a professor, or not a medical doctor. And she's like, "Oh, Hank, don't I think you and Tina will get back together." But you can tell she has feelings for Hank. And in the meantime, you see the monster come out of the water onto a jetty, and then the Tina and the biker they start dancing, and everybody else starts dancing, and Hank sees that, so he gets all jealous, so he starts a fight with the biker guy, and then two other people come and break it up, and they shake the two guys shake hands, and then they go their separate ways, and like the biker guy tries to dance with Tina some more, and she's like, "Oh no, no," because Hank walked away, and he's
So she
so
decides
annoyed.
to just go in the water for whatever
Yeah.
reason,
So
cool
she
off, I
she yeah,
guess.
she decides to run into the water, and and she swims out away from everybody. She's on the jetty, and unbeknownst to her, that's where the monster had come out of the water. So he attacks her and kills her. And then you see more dancing and singing, and then suddenly somebody screams, and then you see the Tina. She's dead on the beach, and she's all covered in blood and stuff.
Or
So
chocolate
then
syrup, whatever they used.
chocolate syrup, right? So then you see the cops, and they're in and looking at a photo of Tina's body, and it's like, well, some of the witnesses said they saw a sea monster, and the cops are like, oh, that's ridiculous, that's crazy. So they go to they bring a sample of, I guess, Tina's blood or something to Mr. Gavin, and he's looking, and you know uh, somebody said, yeah, here's your sample, doctor, and he's, okay, so he goes in. Oh, he tells the cops, "I'm going to do some carbon 14 testing to see what the DNA of these of the residue is." Which is, you don't test carbon 14. Never mind. It's just the wrong test, but all right,
Okay.
it works. So then the doctor sees his daughter, and she's getting ready to go to the funeral of Tina, and she's all upset because she has feelings for Hank, but going to the funeral, she feels she's being fake, and the doctor father is listening to her, and it's like, oh, don't worry, it'll all work out. So then he's in his uh, laboratory in the basement, and he's examining things and going through books and whatever. And the maid, Eula Bell, is there, and she's like, "Oh, doctor, you got to. These are zombies. There's zombies out there killing people. You gotta stop it." And the doctor's like, "Oh, stop it. There's no such thing as voodoo." He says, "Oh, well, there's things we don't know about." And it's like, "No, don't worry. We'll find a thing." So then the the doctor, Elaine comes down, and he's like, "Oh, doctor's like, I thought you were going to a slumber party." She's like, "Oh no, I don't feel like it. But then I think I'm just going to stay home." Said, "Well, did you call the girls and let them know you weren't coming?" She's like, No, but I said, "Don't you think you should?" So she's like, "Okay." So then it shows to the slumber party, and a bunch of girls there, and they're leaving the door up because they've heard that the frat house boys
They put
are
like
going
a
to be,
bucket to the
yeah,
bucket on the door.
yeah, they're going to try and crash the party. So they do that old gag where you lean a bucket of water at a half partly open door, and when you open it, the bucket of water falls on them. So they get a phone call. Oh, oh, Elaine, oh, you sure you don't want to come? And blah 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 blah. So then you see the slumber girls. They're like they're singing a song, and then they're combing each other's hair, and then they're having a big pillow fight. And you see the monsters coming out, if from the dark, doing their frog noises. And the girls are like, "Oh, it's the boys coming!" Oh, and so they turn off all the lights and they wait. They're waiting with what they hear them, so what they think the frat boys are coming. It turns out it's the monsters, and they go in and they start like killing all the girls and whatever. And then it's a scene. There's a newsman saying, 20 girls were killed at a slumber party by strange creatures from the sea, and you know the next day, you see these three women. They're driving, and they, hey, should we stop at this town? Oh, let's not. I heard there were a lot of murders going on from weird monsters and stuff. And she says, well, but I gotta, girl driving, I gotta get gas, so let's stop and pull over anyway. So they pull in the gas thing, and they start flirting with the attendant, pumping gas for them. And they're like, how do you get to New York City? And he's like, well, you go down here, you make a left, you go up, you turn right,
That was
you
funny.
pass the bear that looks like a rock, and the rock that, all that. So they're like, okay, so they obviously take a wrong turn, and they end up by a quarry. And then they're like, this doesn't look like the road to New York. And then they get a flat tire. So one of them's trying to change the tire, and it's nighttime, of course. And the other one is just in her car filing her nails. And the third one, she had gone off to scout around the area. And she says, yeah, this is all wilderness and stuff. And now, there's a quarry over there, and it's filled with water, and it smells really fishy and weird. So then they they start hearing noise. You see the monsters coming out of the water and walking through them, and they walk really awkward, like with their
Yeah, well,
arms,
those suits
elbows.
are like, yeah.
Yeah, so and the suits definitely look rubbery, and the heads. It's like their eyes are up really high, and they got a fin on the top of the head and two fins or
Well,
gills
as
or
in
whatever
those
on the
two
side.
creatures you got behind you right there.
Yeah, yeah, and their mouths are always open, and they have like it looks like hot dogs sticking out.
Yeah.
Like they tried to eat a whole bunch of hot dogs. And there are
Yeah,
a
well, it
couple
is
of
hot dog. I
other
think it is National Hot Dog Day today. I'm not sure, but
ooh, and there were other couple of monsters who looked different. And the doctor, at one point, the doctor explains that, well, yeah, as humans look different, the monsters will look different.
as
You know,
makeup and the rubber suits look different, the rubber
yeah.
suits look different.
I get a feeling part of this was filmed.
This
Then
is in New York or New Jersey, right?
I think it's Connecticut.
Connecticut.
They
Okay, yeah,
said,
that's where the director Del Tenny. That's right. He was from Connecticut. Yeah.
yeah, and I think because they had different monsters. So I'm wondering if like they ran out of money for suits or something. Anyway, so the girls are there trying to fix the tire, and the monsters attack and kill them. And then Elaine's all sad, and it switches to back to the doctor's house, and Elaine's all sad, and the maid's like, "Oh, this is voodoo. I know things are tough, but you got to snap out of it." And then Elaine goes, "What's this?" And she
Oh,
picks
the
up a
voodoo
little
doll.
doll.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a voodoo doll. It's for those Walking Dead zombies out there and stuff. And Elaine's like, "Oh, Eulabelle,
You-
you know there's no such things as voodoo." And then Eulabelle's like, "I know more things than I say." Like she's wiser than the doctor because he's all just pure science.
Right.
So then she calls Hank, and then Hank uh, picks her, or Hank arrives and says, "Hey, you want to go for a drive?" She's like, "Yeah, okay." So she gets Elaine gets up and gets dressed, and then even though you have there are monsters killing people, everybody's out partying. They go to the beach
Yeah,
where the
sure.
people
You got
were
to live your
attacked,
life, right? I
and
mean,
they're
come
dancing and stuff, and then
on.
Hank Hank and Elaine are dancing together. They start falling in love. You can tell, and they're just staring. into each other's eyes, and then they sort of walk away off. I guess to
It
be
did take
alone
it
or
didn't
whatever.
take long for Hank to get over his other girlfriend, the one that
No
got killed.
kidding. Jeez.
That was
So then
quick.
you see again this monsters attacking and killing people, especially women. So this guy, he's at some store, I don't know if it's a drugstore or whatever, and I guess the two girls work there. There's two girls, and they're leaving at night, and he's like, "Hey, you two girls, be careful walking home at night." And they're like, "Oh, my brother's coming to pick us up." And they're like, "All right." So he closes, locks the door, and turns the light out. And I'm like, uh, if you have monsters killing people,
Yeah,
wouldn't
right.
you like keep them there until the guy came to pick them up?
Yeah,
But anyways,
right.
they
Hey, get
walk.
out of here. So what? So be careful, but get out of here.
Yeah. So they're walking,
Or give them a ride
and
home or
yeah,
something.
something. So they're walking along and they're talking, and you see the monsters, stalking them. And then they're like, "Oh my, I guess my brother's not coming, so let's walk home." And then suddenly the monster's about to attack, and then the brother drives up, and he drives up, and the headlights illuminate them and the monster behind them, but he never says
Right.
anything. He says, "Come on, get in, drive you home." So they get in and drive away, and the monster gets all frantic and angry, and is throwing a temper tantrum. And then he's like walking through town, and he sees a store window with mannequins in it, and he goes and he tries to attack the mannequin, and he breaks the window, and he cuts off part
The
of it.
monster
Yeah,
does. The
the
monster.
monster, and he cuts off part of his arm. So then the next scene, you see the doctor. He's examining the hand. The hand's still alive, and he's looking at it.
It's got like worms coming out of it,
Yeah,
and
all weird stuff. He says this thing is made of. It's like a sea anemone. It's a giant protozoa, and it's still alive and stuff. So then they suddenly they hear a noise upstairs, and the doctor, the cops, Hank, and Elaine are downstairs, looking at this thing, and the hand's like moving around. So then they hear a noise. I was like, "All right, Elaine, you get in the corner, and here I only have knives down here." So they grab the knives, and then you see this weird figure in shadows coming down, and they had like turned off all the lights in the cellar, and then this figure comes in, and suddenly. Turn the lights on, and it's Eula Bell, and she's like, "It's scary up there. I'm the only one up there, and it's too quiet and stuff." And then she sees the hand, and she like uh, gets shocked and steps away. And in doing that, she knocks over a vial of liquid sodium, metallic sodium, which makes the hand explode. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, doctor." And he's like, "No, no, that's perfect. It's we now know that sodium can kill the monsters." So oh, see, where am
page 3.
I? Oh, so then it's two
Paul
drunks.
Harvey. Remember that?
Page 3. So then you see two drunks, and they're coming out of a bar, and they're like, trying to, says, "All right, I think I may be
They're
too
trying to drive
drunk."
home. They're all
Yeah, they're
wasted.
trying to drive home, and they're in two different cars, and it's like, "Ah." So then they drive and they crash into each other. So then they get out and like, "I guess we're too drunk to drive home." Ah. So they're walking along, and they see a van with lights on, and it's like, "Hey, that guy's parked there, and he left his engine running. We better go turn it off to help, make sure his battery doesn't drain." So they walk up, and they go to the door, and the one drunk goes to the door, and he says, "Hey, Mister, your car's on. You better turn it." "Hey, Mister," he's trying to wake him up, and then suddenly the guy slumps over, and you see his face is all ripped open
All
from the
bloody and
monster.
ripped up, and
So he goes,
nice,
"Ugh,"
nice close up of it. Yeah.
and then he walking around, and he steps. You see the drunk friend is dead on the ground, and the drunk guy doesn't see him. The other drunk guy, he steps over him. He's like, "Hey, Mac, where are you? We don't play jokes like this. It's too scary. Hey, Mac!" And then suddenly the monster grabs him and attacks and kills him. So then then there's a this all happens pretty quick. It was a quick movie. So then there's a
Well, yeah, it would
montage.
have been quicker if it wouldn't have had all those
Well,
songs.
yeah, it would have been like half an hour if it didn't have
Yeah,
all the
right,
dancing and
exactly,
music.
right, yeah.
So then you see a montage of the news, news reports of how the monsters are killing people, and then you see different shots of girls being attacked, and it's all like it's sort of superimposed over the doctor in his laboratory looking at things and doing things. So then the doctor and Hank they sort of realize, hey, those guys, some of this stuff is radioactive, and I know the guys who run this fishing or have this boat,
Business, yeah,
you know,
fishing
yeah,
business, yeah.
fishing business. They will
From
you know
corporation.
they dump radioactive waste over in the ocean. The doctor's like, well, that's it. The radioactivity merged with the sea anemones and some human remains and created these monsters. He says, that's great though. We can find them with Geiger counters, and so we got to test all the water and in the surrounding area to see. So then they do that, and they send the cops out, and every available man's going out with Geiger counters and water testers and stuff. And in the meantime, Hank is looking to find a large amounts of
Hank goes to the city, right? He
yeah.
goes to
He's looking to find large amounts of metallic sodium. So he's called. He finds it in New York City, which is like an hour away. He um, he says, "Oh, you have sodium, great, because I need a larger amount." So you see him driving, driving quickly, driving, pulls up, and see him run into the Manhattan Chemical, whatever. And in the meantime, the maid comes down. She says, do you have any luck, finding, testing the water? And the doctor's like, no, no luck and stuff. And he says, oh, where's my daughter Elaine? And the maid goes, oh, well, she went to Finnegal's quarry to do water testing. And guy's like, Finnegal's quarry? I should have realized that. That's where the monsters are, because that's the deepest body of water we have. So then, so he drives out to see him driving to Finnegal's quarry. And in the meantime, he says, call the cops and let them know where I'm going and have them look out for Hank because he's picking up sodium, metallic sodium. So you see the cops, they call, and another cop was on the road and says, if you see Hank, this guy Hank in a green MG, escort him to Finnegal's quarry. In the meantime, the doctor goes out. Oh, then you see Elaine, she's walking down and going to the quarry, and she's testing the water, and suddenly the bubbling comes up where the monsters are. So she screams and panics, and she goes running, and of course she
of course
slips.
she slips and her legs
She
get
drops,
stuck.
yeah, she drops all her equipment, and her legs get stuck, and she's trying to pull it out. And meantime, the monsters are coming up, and again, this is definitely where you see the different types of monsters, but not really clearly. So then the monsters start chasing the they had started chasing the lynch and she had slipped and her leg is snagged in some rocks. She's trying to pull it out, and then the monster's coming close, and her father arrives, and he has a vial of metallic sodium, and he throws it at the monster and it explodes. And then another monster comes, and it's about to attack Elaine. So he starts fighting with the monster. In the meantime, the cop found Hank. He says, "Oh, follow me. We got to go to the Finnegal's quarry." So they drive like maniacs. So as the doctor's fighting the monster, Hank and the cops arrive. Uh, Hank throws sodium at the monster. The monster explodes and it burns the doctor. And then you see more monsters coming, and they have like a little trash can of sodium, and they start just throwing
Yeah, like
sodium
bombs and
at the
stuff like
monsters, and the
that.
monsters are exploding. So that's the next day, and Hank comes in and like is Elaine awake? And the maid's like, I think she's asleep. But let's
She
go
got
upstairs
hurt.
and look.
Her leg got hurt or
Yeah, her
something.
leg got hurt, and the doctor he got burns from the sodium explosion, so he was in the hospital. And Hank had just come from visiting the hospital. So he goes up and he goes to Elaine. She's still laying in bed. And he goes, "I just saw your father. He's got burns, but he'll be all right." And they're like, "Oh, Hank," and they start kissing and stuff. And
We get another
then
song at the end.
you get another song at the end, and it's the name of the song is "A Summer Love," Elaine, my summer love, or something like that. So and then the end credits start rolling and stuff, and the end.
You know,
It was
those monsters in the background, they look pretty similar to the Beach Girls and the Monster.
yeah,
You know, I
it
don't think they
probably
didn't use this. They didn't use the same suits, but they look very similar.
yeah. So it was it except if you took out the dancing and the music, it would have been a much shorter movie. So those scenes
It was
were
padding.
yeah, those scenes of the monsters and the people, it's real quick, and it takes place at like a breakneck speed. But everything else, the singing and the dancing, kind of slows it down.
Well, the director Del Tenney, he did another one somewhere in Connecticut called Curse of the Living Corpse, and it was like Roy Scheider's first movie.
Wow,
And Candice Hilligos is in it from Carnival of Souls.
that's who I thought it was.
In not in this movie, in the other
Oh,
movie,
and the other one. Oh,
in
okay.
Curse of the
But
Living
this one,
Corpse now.
because this one, she,
She
her name
looks
is
like her a little bit.
Alice
Yeah, yeah,
Lyon.
but it's
Yeah,
not
she
her.
does. I'm like, is that her? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
no. And then Tenny went to Florida and he made a zombie movie called Zombie, but then he got put on a double feature with I Drink Your Blood and I Eat Your Skin. And I Eat Your Skin was the 1964 zombie movie, and I Drink Your Blood was some like
Oh
satanic
yeah,
biker, rabies,
yeah.
meat pie, horrible movie. It's you'll if you know the poster, it's a famous poster.
Yeah,
I
I've
drink
seen
your
it.
blood, I
Yeah,
eat your skin, or whatever. So, and then I think Tenny moved to Florida. I think he did some other stuff. I can't remember what he did, but I think he lived in Florida for the rest of his life, maybe. But these movies, these Horror Party Beach and Because of Living Corpse, were made up there, and they did pretty good, I guess. You know what I mean? It was kind of like I think it was released in '64, and that's when all the Beatles and Beach Boys and all that stuff started hitting big. So and
yeah,
Monsters, of course.
and monster movies and beach party movies.
And Beach
Frank
Party movies.
Frankie
Yeah, yeah,
Avalon and
that's
the Knights
right.
Funicello. Yeah,
Yeah, all those Beach Party movies started before this. So yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it was kind of gory in a way. They showed like really bloody figures and a little bit of gore and the photography. I don't know if that was because of this print that I watched. It was very stark.
mm,
There wasn't that many grays in it. It was very black and white and stark. So it
yeah,
was somewhat effective and hokey, and it's worth watching if you're in the
yeah,
mood for it.
yeah. I mean,
So.
it wasn't a bad movie, and even with the padding, it wasn't that bad. Just
No, no, it was just pretty basic.
just to bring the time up. So I guess
It
the
almost felt like a 1950s movie or 40s
yeah,
movie with the pacing and the plot, and then but of course it had all the 60s, the music, and
yeah.
all that
It was
jazz
it
from
was
the 60s.
78 minutes.
Yeah, and about
That,
12
that
of it is music.
yeah, or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
it was
it was rock and roll, the kids, those
yeah.
kids back then, they
What is
liked
the
to
name
rock
of
and roll.
the Bel Airs was a Paterson, New Jersey band.
See, that's why I thought it was in New Jersey or something, but it's in Connecticut. Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense. It's Connecticut because Del Tenney was from Connecticut, I believe.
yeah. So yeah, it was pretty good. Although I mean, some of the internal logic, like with these monsters running around, you think people would be more likely to stay indoors rather than go to beaches
They ain't
or.
scared.
I guess not. They're tough people in Connecticut.
Yeah, they're not scared of those monsters. If they believed them, I mean, did they ever
Yeah,
show? Did they ever show any? See, because they never saw any footage of the monsters on the news, so who knows? They probably thought it was a slasher, but even that would still be
yeah.
enough
You'd
to
still
make
say.
you
I mean,
not go out
dead
and
bodies. Yeah,
Of course, if you're drunk, you're gonna go out and get drunk anyway.
Well, that's
So,
true. That's
and
true.
if you're three girls like going to on the driving to wherever, were they going to New York or something like that? Where they heading to?
Yeah, they were heading to New York City,
Well,
and they looked like Jersey girls.
and they were kind of horny.
No kidding. And they're chewing gum. And the guy who played the gas station attendant, that was Del Tenny.
Oh, that's Del Tenny. Oh, cool. I
Yeah,
didn't know that. Oh, cool.
and yeah, so he's pumping the gas, and the one girl starts lifting her skirt up to flirt with him,
Yeah, man.
and
Yeah,
but you knew they
those
were gonna, when they came in, you just knew they were gonna be, prey to the monsters.
fun stuff. Well, I guess at some point we'll have to watch the Beach Girls and the Monster just to complete
Yeah, just to compare them. Yeah,
just to compare them, and but I don't know. I liked it. I mean,
I
it was.
yeah I saw this when I was a little kid back in the
Did you
late
really? I never
'60s.
saw this
Yeah, Channel
before.
5 was it Creature Features probably.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yeah, and back then on a regular black and white television, which itself was probably 10 years old, there was this big
Would your
giant.
mom let you watch this stuff, or would
Oh
she?
yeah, yeah, because there was no uh nudity, not nu- well, even there's no
Well, I didn't get
suggestion
any
of
movie on
nudity,
television.
and all the bad girls, so to speak, got their comeuppance. So,
Oh, I see. Okay. All
but
right.
yeah,
So,
she didn't mind what she used to do. This was funny. If she saw me watching, she called them scary movies. She would say, "Is this are you scared?" I'm like, "No." She says, "All right, if you're not scared, go out to the hall in the dark hall and turn around 3 times and keep saying raw head and bloody bones." And I'm like, "Why?" He says, "Well, you'll see something." I said, "What will I see?"
oh boy.
you know, my mom was
Oh boy.
she was funny like that. And if you said no, he says, "Well, then obviously the movie's too scary for you." But even if I could have been watching Mary Poppins, and if she told me to do that, I'm like, No, like Rawhead and Bloody and apparently that's an old uh, English or British
Okay.
uh,
Raw head and bloody bones, huh?
legend or something like that. Yeah,
So there you go. Learn something new every day, every show.
yeah, right.
That's funny. My parents never cared, except I was the one who got scared about some shows. That Nightmare
Yeah,
Theater show that scared me when I was a kid. But they didn't. They didn't really care. You know.
yeah.
I know some people whose parents
Yeah, they really
really,
stopped them from
yeah, they couldn't
watching
even get
anything
monster
scary.
comics or anything like that. So.
Yeah, I couldn't get Monster Comics until I was older.
Oh, really? You couldn't get creepies in the Aries till you got
No,
older?
oh God, no,
Oh,
no.
that's too bad. Or
My
famous
brother could.
monsters.
Yeah, my
Oh,
brother
well, you
could.
could read your.
She
Oh, well,
didn't
you could
mind.
read your brothers.
Yeah, she didn't mind famous monsters because no, actually, nobody in my family really bought that. What's that? What's that? Was that newspaper? Oh, Monster Times. She allowed me to get Monster Times, but that was, kind of tame.
Interesting. That one was pretty good, actually. Monster
Yeah,
Times.
yeah.
So your brother,
There's a
your brother
weird.
had monster. Your brother had monster movies, monster comics, and all that stuff.
Yeah, he had every once in a while he'd get a creepy, or he wasn't as
Oh,
into
cool.
monster movies. He was more science fiction.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. There's people like that. Yeah.
and I had a bunch of monster themed bubblegum cards, and there was like they'd have
Oh,
scenes
those are
of
cool. Yeah.
monster movies, but sometimes they'd have like a funny saying on the front.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Monster laughs or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then in the back there was like a little short paragraph of a monster story. And one thing that really scared me was on the back of one of the cards. It was this guy had a dream. He was being chased by Indians in the Old West, and when he woke up, he found arrows sticking out of his mattress. And for some reason, that terrified me. And I ended up
Wow.
I had the whole pack of cards wrapped in rubber band. I threw that. Was going to bed that night. I had to throw the cards out because I was worried I was going to dream
Wow.
about Indians. And then I woke up the next morning and I'm like, why did I throw those out? So I went and got them. Thankfully, the garbage wasn't taken. They weren't really. But you're a kid, and the weirdest thing
Yeah,
scared
yeah.
me.
No, you're right. You're right about that. You're right.
Very,
Yeah.
very strange. And you could watch sometimes the creepiest thing, and it wouldn't bother you. And then something like Walt Disney did a Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
That was creepy. The
Scared the
scarecrow,
hell
or
out of me.
no,
It was
Romney
the
March,
headless.
the scarecrow on the horse. That was
Yeah,
creepy.
Rodney Marsh scared me too. Yeah, that was creepy too.
Yeah.
And I can remember Sleepy Hollow was a headless horseman. I can remember watching it, and my mom, uh, I was scared. It's like my after watching it, and I had to go to bed. I was like worried about it. My mom's like, what's the matter? I'm like, well, I watched the headless horseman thing, and it scared me. And she's trying to help. She goes, well, if you worry so much about seeing something, you are going to see something. Which I
Well,
didn't
there
know
you
what she
go.
meant. So I'm like, okay, now I'm so scared. I'm actually going to call the headless horseman to me. That's how I
Yeah.
interpreted it. So,
I don't
crazy.
know. Well, anyway, that's it for today's show. Wow,
That's it.
choking up here.
Yeah.
Movie just choked me up. Um, yeah, I think we both like this goofball
We both
movies.
liked it. Yeah, it was a good movie. It moved quickly, even with the padding. Some of
Yep.
the internal
Logic.
logic and science was a bit off. But if you're a kid,
It's a
yeah,
monster
yeah,
movie from
it's a monster. Yeah,
1964. What do you expect?
yeah, exactly. You can just pass it by.
Well, that's it for today's show. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another, maybe a mass wrestler movie. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. A masked wrestler
A
movie.
Santo movie. There's plenty of.
Yeah,
They've been
there's
dubbing
plenty of
those.
those.
They've been
Yeah.
dubbing those on Tubies. A couple of them
Oh,
from
cool.
Miami. There's a couple of them that were made in Miami, and maybe we'll watch one of those
Yeah,
next time.
cool. Sounds good.
All right, man. Well, in the meantime,
In the meantime, watch more B movies. Bow, 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 bow.
it's your turn. Shut this thing off.
All right, let's see. Stop recording.